All right, was there more than one shooter in the Las Vegas shooting? So, at first, I was going by what the police were telling us, that there was a single shooter. And I was analyzing the audio that was primarily from the first few rounds at the very beginning of the concert. And also the video. There's so much video out there. And the videos were coming mainly from the concert area. Those are the ones we were all looking at. But now, as other videos begin to surface, one has a taxi driver who ends up later in the video picking people up and getting them out of there. But she was some distance away and got closer to the situation as she drove in. And other videos like that, there's one showing definitely muzzle flash coming from the fourth floor. I mean, it's obvious evidence. So, either the law enforcement really doesn't know what they're talking about yet, and they're clueless, which wouldn't surprise me. Not that I don't like law enforcement, it's just that stuff like this is really hard to decipher in the moment, on the day of. It takes time. And, we do live in this video-intensive world. So as these new videos start to surface, and, hats off to a lot of guys on the internet who are taking a lot more time than me to sit down and really analyze every video. But from what I can tell, it's clear to me that there's at least a second shooter on the fourth floor. I saw what looked like muzzle flash on the opposite side of the fourth floor muzzle flash that seems to be coming from maybe the eighth floor. So it seems to me like either the law enforcement have just got this wrong and they'll redact their statements and clarify things as information comes to light, or there's some concerted effort to cover up the true nature of what happened in Las Vegas. If it's multiple shooters, then we can guess it's not a single freaked out guy that just lost it. It really leaves you with two options. This is a government false flag with MK Ultra individuals, performing the massacre, or this is an Antifa terrorist act. So one thing in life that I have learned is that you got to look at what is most likely the cause. It doesn't make any sense that one single guy that didn't have any motive, apparently, did all of this mayhem by himself. That really doesn't make a lot of sense. There's no motive there. So it's got to be motivated politically, because that's the situation we're in. How many left-wingers have called for the death of conservatives? I mean, even this lady on CBS News who said, she was glad that they were all dead because they were all Trump supporters, and thank God she got fired for that. But it tells you that this hatred is out there and it's thick. The threats have been coming. Just on Friday, video surfaced, Thursday or Friday last week, video surfaced of Antifa saying, you're not even going to see coming what we've got planned for you. It's so big, you won't even see it coming. And so the motivation publicly or collectively seems to be, a left-wing terrorist attack by Antifa or someone related to them or with sympathetic thoughts. So the multiple shooter thing, it kind of narrows this down. If it's multiple shooters, it's got to be one of those two things. It could be ISIS. It's either, an ISIS attack or it's a left-wing attack. Now, by the nature of the target, one's got to assume a left-wing attack makes the most sense because all of the victims were more than likely mostly conservative. So, they're the ones that have been threatening the conservatives. ISIS hasn't threatened the conservatives. The opposite. ISIS tends to go after the people that are more what they consider godless, like the teeny boppers in London at the concert. I forget her name, Ariana Grande concert. But so when you really start to weigh out what is most likely, I mean, we have no definitive proof yet. This is still just conjecture. We're trying to figure it out. But when you look at all of the collective evidence and the condition the world's in right now, you have to jump to the conclusion to some degree that this must be leftist payback for what happened at Charlottesville, and upping the ante of the tension between left and right, between patriot and patriot and communist, essentially. So we're going to find out the truth. And hats off to the guys that are working so hard to analyze the videos on their own. And there's a lot of great insight coming on out there. Go out and look at it. It's everywhere. to those of you that want to just scoff at all of this as conspiracy theory, wake up and smell the coffee. You're in denial, So at any rate, we're going to continue collectively as a group of Americans analyzing this until we come to a conclusion that we can all live with. But it's starting to look to me like multiple shooters is in fact the cause. It is in fact the situation. The muzzle flash don't lie. Did he run down 28 flights of stairs, or go down an elevator with a loaded gun on? And was there another room down there? The other thing to look at too is what was on the 4th floor, because we didn't see any broken windows the next day on the 4th floor. Is there a window on the 4th floor that opens? Is there a stairwell? Is there a balcony? So at any rate, it does look like muzzle flash coming from the 4th floor, and potentially the 8th floor as well, further over to the left of the building. So at any rate, we're going to keep on this. God bless and preserve the Union.